Alright, hello everyone. I'm going to attempt to, you're not going to see me as much. I'm going to attempt to show you more me doing, because this is my pump. And that's what it says my sugar is right now. I've been really stressed. My dad's dying. And so I need to, I'm going to be using a shorter tube one, which will have, instead of the 9mm cannula, which is the part that's that's inside of me, that's in here, that is going to be shorter, and so, like, less millimeters, would be 6mm instead of 9, and this tubing will be 18 instead of 32. Now, the things I need to do this, of course, I've washed my hands. I will use I have alcohol wipes. That's one of the most important. I have my insulin. My reservoir. And my MiniMed meal. This has the tubing and this part, and the part that connects here. So now, first step, I'm going to put the camera up here, and I'm going to take a wipe, and yes, remember, I've washed my hands, and because it's already been used, I was taught you take and wipe down the top, now set that to the side, let it dry. Because the wipe's still moist, I take and I go over my hands. Now, before I fill the reservoir, see these little rounded bumps? Don't put your fingers on them, because that'll make your you'll see these little uneven ridges in two places. Put your fingers on there, then you'll see that little red. I need to get it started where I can see it. Now, where that red line is, you want to take and peel it, and then making sure that you still don't put your finger on the little dimples, take and squeeze a little, and there's a little lip here on the top. And gently, there we go, pop the lid off. Now set the lid to the side. I don't take the tape off the bottom, this sticky part here, yet. Now, The insulin vial should be dry. Don't touch it, you don't want to contaminate it. Look, there's a little arrow on the back of the reservoir container. You want to take that and carefully peel it open. Now, you don't want to just take and jam this on. That was my first instinct. You want to take and make sure that where these numbers are is facing you, and pull it down all the way. I have 3. Don't pull too hard because you don't want it to pull out the plunger. Then take your insulin vial and this and push down till you hear the click. Now you're going to take this plunger, keeping the insulin vial facing up. Push the plunger all the way in. Now, you're going to want to hold it carefully because it's going to want to come out. Flip it over. So your insulin vial is now on the top. And there is air in it. And slowly it'll start coming out. You can gently pull, but you don't want to pull it too hard because again, if you pull this out, the plunger, all that insulin will come flying out. And if you're still pulling, I'm not sure if that'll keep coming out. Never tried that, and I don't want to. Now, make sure you've got your palm underneath. Tap and flick. And I don't know if you could see, but there's air bubbles coming up. So now you want to push the plunger back up a little until you see the air bubbles go back in, because the air bubbles will make problems with you getting your insulin. And then you pull back down gently and slowly until you get to the bottom of the 3. I would show you, but and then tap, tap, tap. I do it at least once, even when I don't see. That way, if there's any up here that I didn't notice. And you always want to make sure, let me try and move my fingers, that these black rings, the top one, is just underneath the 3. That seems to work for me. Then I push it up very slightly, just to make sure there's no air bubbles. And then I very slowly bring it back down. And all the while I haven't even touched my pump because I know that it'll tell me to do this first, and I find it easier for me to do that. Then when I have that ready, you can take the plunger out with the insulin this way. I don't, because of it falling out. You flip it, and not the part that's connected to the insulin vial, the part that's connected to the reservoir. Turn, I believe it's counterclockwise, gently. set your insulin vial aside. I leave that on and I just take it off and put it in the sharps container just before I put it away. Take your infusion set. I'm using the Mio. Now, like I said, again, don't press the bubbles. Take this part here and take the top and line it up. And then turn it till it clicks. Now, turn this, I believe it's counterclockwise, and when you look, you'll see, I don't know if you can see, but from this angle, come on, focus. But it's closed in there. Set the syringe aside. Now, I haven't taken the sticky part off the bottom. I haven't taken the protector off the needle or this sticky tape. I haven't unwound the tubing. I just set that up. And I set it to the side. Now, I need to pick up the camera because now, before I do anything else, because I have my sports protection on, so I take and push up on each of these clamps. And that takes that off, and I set it to the side. Now, you're not going to take that out just yet. You want to click on your circle, and you have this little paper part over here. Click, do the down, and you want to scroll down to reservoir and tubing, that one that's highlighted yellow. Click your center circle, and now it says new reservoir or fill cannula. And I'm going to click, because I'm doing a new reservoir. And it says, remove infusion set from body. Remove reservoir from pump. So, first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to unclip my belt. Now I'm going to remove the reservoir. Hold that in my hand. And go down here. Pull up on the edges of the tape. That I will show you another day. That's my sensor, my Enlight sensor. I'm going to set the pump aside so I have more to work with, because I can pull up. Forgive the fingers, I know it's hard to see, because these are pretty sticky. This one is extra sticky. There we go. I'm not going to put it back there. Now I'm going to put that up to the side. That part you want to go in the sharps. I'm going to take another alcohol wipe, which is my next step. Oh, first, I'm going to take the pump, and it says rewind. I'm going to click and let it rewind. It'll click and give a check mark when it's done. And because I did it on this side, I'm going to prepare over here. You wipe with the alcohol wipe. There we go. Now it's telling me the next step. And I will let that dry. And that is fill reservoir, connect tubing to reservoir, do not connect to body. I've already done that. Next, place reservoir into pump and lock. Do not connect to body. So now what I do is very gently, you don't want to remove it, is I push down on the tubing a little to unclick it, and I unwind the tubing without touching that middle. It is nice and shorter. And then there's these little latches. Clip it there. Now, where you took out, see there's that? You take this and you put it in. You want to turn it until it clicks and it's going straight. You don't want this top part going this way. So place into pump and lock, and when I do that, I take my guard thing that I use, my activity guard, and I clip it back on. Then I click next. Now it says load, and you want to press the circle in the middle and hold it. It's done, and it's got a yellow check mark, and it says do not connect to body. Next, do not connect to body, hold and fill until drops appear. Now, it's when I take the lid and still without removing the blue plastic on the cannula, you want to click and hold on the fill until you see drops. And I count to 5 drops. And when you're doing the drops, you want to keep it face down. Then I set aside that lid. And then you want to scroll over to next. You don't want to keep it on fill. And then press your center. And it says insert infusion set to body. So now, I take in the middle, still making sure you're only touching the grooves, not the round. find where this is. Be careful because it's usually on one of the round things to inject. And pull it off. Pull off this little blue protective over the cannula. And then, very carefully, take hold of this rounder part. Don't pull too hard. Go slow and careful, because you don't want to jar that out of place. Then holding those little areas, don't touch the needle. Go to the back here, and where this little part is, pull it out until you hear that click. Then I found I want to make sure that's kind of facing up or at a bit of an angle so that I have an easier time taking the one part out. But now you want to put it where you prepared. Then you can put your fingers on the, hold it to you, not too tight. Yes, Chloe. Now you put your fingers on those circle parts that I said don't. And squeeze in. And then you press in the middle. To get the sticky to stick. Then pull gently up. Put this to the side. Take and press in like this around it to make sure it's nice. And if you look, this tubing is far shorter, because I was finding that the other tubing I was getting caught on things. Now, trying to angle this so that you can get the best view possible. Now, insert infusion set into body and select fill cannula. Fill. Make sure your fill amount's proper and scroll down to fill now and click the center circle. And I move my finger away. It's filling the cannula, the part that's in the body. Now it beeps, flashes, and now it check marks saying it's done. And then it goes back. And then I go here on the top, and I check at pump, reservoir 282.8.9, did good, and because it's a 1 minute to 11, I need to make sure I'm up for at least 2 to 3 hours to make sure my sugars don't go up. Normally I don't change it at night. See, 2 more days and I'll be changing my sensor. and I will let you know how the shorter tubing is working for me. Let me put that to the side right now. I hope that you enjoyed that and that it was a better video this time. Please let me know, thumbs up, keep watching, and I will do more and try and show you better as I'm learning. I started my insulin pump August 18th. I have been on it as of October 18th, so in about 20 days I will have been on my pump for my very first pump for 2 months. And I will let you know what my first day 1C is when that comes. And I'm loving having my pump. Oh, forgive me. I'm going to put that back on, my clip back on. You just take, oh, I gotta watch because I can't get it as far away from my body as I usually do. And now I take and I put my pump up and clip it to my bra. Now to show you how to clean up the mess. First, I need to pull up my pants. Now, this here, I didn't find this out when I first did it. Now, you want to very careful you don't get the needle, and you want to go back here where these two blue things are and press the white. Now, that comes out. It goes in your sharps bin. You want to take the set if you had one, if it wasn't your first hey, Chloe, if this wasn't your first set you just put on so you didn't have one to take off. This stuff is all oh, one more shirt. You want to take and pull this off your insulin, the needles, and dump that in your sharps. Now, I just learned this. This part that you took the part that's connected to the needle and the inserter and the cap, put them back together, and until you know you have no issues with that set, keep it. Because on this lid, I just have to send one back. On this lid is their lot number. In here, it's very hard to read unless you're in a certain light. But it's got your lot number. I don't know if you can tell. And some other numbers and stuff that they use. So, I put that in my diabetic drawer. And I can access it if there's any issues. the garbage. I gather for the garbage. The insulin I will put back in my bag. My unused sterile strip, my alcohol wipes. And that is how I change my set, and I will let you know. And so far that 18-inch reaches to go up in my bra very well, and I don't have a ton of excess tubing that was getting caught on everything. Now the thing for me is, because I had the 9mm cannula and this only has a 6mm cannula, is to make sure that my sugars don't go up, that the cannula gets in there enough and gives me my insulin properly. Because I'll have to figure out what to do with the 32-inch tubing, if that's the 9mm cannula is the only one that will appropriately give me, for my size, the proper dose of insulin. Peace, much love. Let me know what you think. Give me a thumbs up, like, comment. I have had comments on another video, and hopefully I have done better, because, like the person said, yeah, you like seeing this ugly mug, but you want to see more of the pump and me actually doing these things, because that's what these diabetic insulin pump videos are all about. And that was my first video that I have attempted when I was changing my set, because I wasn't confident enough in that I have started on my MiniMed 630G on August 18th, 2018. I am really loving it. My sugars have been 13, 14, 15 a couple times, but for the most part my sugars are 10 or lower, sometimes about 11. And I feel so much better. I can do so much more. It's awesome. For any other type 1, the type 1 diabetics, if you can get it, and I'm telling you, if you're a type 2 diabetic like me that is insulin dependent, and you're taking multiple shots of insulin a day that's keeping you alive, think about seeing if you can get the pump. I pay a monthly amount for 4 years, or it'll be shorter if I get it paid for sooner. And it's well worth it, because it's a very life-changing thing. I hope you like this video, and there'll be more to come. Please like, please subscribe, comment, share, enjoy. Toodles for now.